Test, check. You getting me? Okay.
Test.
Yep, no worries. Good. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to get started. Awesome. So the first selection belongs to the Crude. Your 5 minutes are now on the clock. In the meantime, while they are making their selection, just for any potential people who are selected, when you are selected, you will come up to the stage. The team will hand you a jersey. We will have a photographer take your photo. And then for the top 12 picks of the draft, you will head over to the far left there with Mo Joma, and you will be interviewed live on our live stream on YouTube. Awesome, and we have a trade to announce. The Edmonton Warriors have traded their 2022 5th and 6th round selections to the Crude in exchange for Max Runser. Sir. Awesome. With the first selection of the 2022 16U North Division entry draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from Lakeland Lacrosse, Bennett Fry. Next up with selection will be the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. Your 5 minutes is now on the clock.
All right, Bennett, so congratulations on the selection. I'm sure you're pretty proud. So minor lacrosse is over now. You're headed to major. What would you say it was like the one memory you have, or like the one thing that stands out from your minor lacrosse?
Honestly, probably just like growing up and playing lacrosse with all my friends, and just really just pushing me to where I am now, I guess.
All right, and so major lacrosse, there's a lot of differences. There's OD, there's bigger nets, so there's some different rule changes. How do you think your game's going to transition from minor lacrosse to major?
Just faster pace, harder hits. Yeah, just overall faster game.
And then lastly, what are you looking forward to most about junior lacrosse?
Just playing, having fun. That's pretty much it.
Congratulations.
With the second selection of the 2022 16U North Division entry draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels choose from the Sherwood Park Titans, Reed Lowe.
All right, so the Rebels go with Reed Lowe, a very smart off-the-ball player, knows how to get open, slippery inside, can finish, and I expect this guy to contribute right away for the Rebels. All right, congratulations,
next
Reed.
selection
Must feel good to get it out of the way early. Get drafted second overall.
Sherwood Park
So
March 15th.
I'll start off with this. So, what do you think is going to be the biggest transition for you from minor lacrosse to major lacrosse?
Yeah, for sure. It's a completely new game from the minor to the junior game. The size of people, the speed of the game. So it's definitely going to be a good transition, but I think I'm ready and it'll be a good year for sure.
And then, so secondly, I want to know how you think. What are the biggest difference from the major or from the minor game to the major game? Like, what do you think you're going to have to really work on the most to sort of acclimatize yourself to the speed of the game?
For sure. I would just say the strength, the weight room. It's a whole new game. You got 5 years in junior, so I would for sure say the weight room's a big thing. I would just say overall that's the speed and everything like that, so it'll be interesting.
Perfect. And then lastly, what would you say is your fondest memory from minor lacrosse?
I'll have to go winning provincials in Pee Wee as a second year. It was a great memory, great team, and just I would say it was the biggest memory I got from junior.
Perfect. Thanks, Reed, and good luck this season.
Thank you, appreciate it.
With the third selection of the 2022 16U draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Jackson Baker.
All right, so the Rebels go back on the clock, and they select lefty Jackson Baker, a kid who has progressed. His game's progressed over the last couple of years. He's got a heavy outside shot. Dedicated to the game, goes to Vimy Ridge Academy, has spent a lot of time, from the looks of it, in the weight room. He's always been a smaller, slighter kid, but obviously going into junior, he's probably focused on his size, and it looks like it's paying off.
5 minutes are now on the clock.
All right, Jackson, so third overall, must be a pretty good feeling. So I'll start you off with this. What do you think? So obviously, going from minor lacrosse to major lacrosse, there's pretty big differences. There's, bigger nets, a lot of OD, things like that. So what do you think is going to be the biggest thing for you as you transition from minor lacrosse into major lacrosse?
I think using my speed and versatility, getting up the floor from D to O will be huge for me. If I can create some fast break chances, help the team out.
Perfect. Okay, and then on you off here. So minor lacrosse is over now. You're going into major. What would you say is your fondest memory as you leave minor?
Probably getting coached by my father for a really, really long time and winning some provincial championships and winning Canada Day a couple times and just spending time there.
That's that. You know what? That resonates with me, and I can remember reffing you when you were a novice. It's crazy how the time flies. But congratulations and good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
So the Warriors on the clock.
With the fourth pick of the 2022 16U North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Blues, Cole Stachniak.
So the Warriors go with lefty Cole Stachniak. Another guy who's really improved his game over the last couple of years, come into his own. He can play both offense and defense. Probably will provide a good amount of transition skill for the Warriors. Very versatile player, and we'll talk to him right now. All right, Cole. So fourth overall, you got to be proud of that. So I'll start off by asking you. Obviously, there's a lot of rule changes. You go from minor lacrosse to major lacrosse, bigger nets. You got OD. So how do you think your game's going to sort of translate into the new style of play?
Well, I think it'll be a little more focused, my gameplay, less of doing everything and more of focusing on one skill. So, but I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Yeah, actually, one of the comments I made was that you're a very versatile player. You can do a little bit of everything. So I'll keep it short with you. What would you say is your fondest memory or the thing that you'll look back on the most from minor lacrosse and that sort of, will remain with you as you go into major?
I think, well, there are a couple things from minor. Like, I won provincials when I was younger playing minor, and then obviously having good teams that have, gone to provincials and guys that I've really, really bonded with. But I think overall it's been a lot of fun and looking forward to this.
Awesome. Congratulations and good luck, Cole. All right. Thanks.
With the fifth selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from Wainwright Thomas Gallagher.
The Warriors select lanky Thomas Gallagher, right-hander, another guy with an outside shot. Can do a little bit of everything, can get out in transition, get the ball up the floor, and just a good, solid overall pick for the Warriors. Comes from Wainwright, played Bantam A in the Warriors organization, and he's made his way all the way up to junior.
Next selection belongs to the Sherwood Park Outlaws.
All right, Thomas. So it was what was it, like 4 years ago? You came from Wainwright to come play in Edmonton. Bantam A. So you've made the jump to junior now. So what do you think? How do you think your game's going to transition from minor to major? Obviously, there's a bunch of rule changes, bigger nets, OD, faster pace. So how do you think it's going to go for you moving into junior?
Well, I think definitely like the strength and speed is such a big jump from minor lacrosse. So definitely going to hopefully up that skill level. But other than that, just I'll hopefully play my game and see what happens from there.
Awesome. And and then lastly, what would you say, looking back on your whole entire minor career, doesn't matter if it was tyke, pee-wee, whatever, what was the one thing that stands out? What was your best, maybe just your best memory from that time?
I'd say probably just starting in general, because when I moved out here, I wasn't really thinking about lacrosse, but then I started getting into it and I just fell in love with it, and then here I am now, I guess. So.
Perfect. All right. Congratulations, Thomas. Good luck.
With the 6th selection in the 2022 draft, the Sherwood Park Outlaws select from the Sherwood Park Titans Blake Harrison.
So the Sherwood Park heavy draft continues. Blake Harrison getting selected by the Outlaws. A kid who can, again, this is another common theme of this draft, a kid that can play a little bit of O, a little bit of D, another versatile player, and a guy that will bring a lot of work ethic and a hard-nosed style game to the Outlaws.
Next selection belongs to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. Your 5
All right,
minutes are now
so
on.
congratulations first off. So looking back on your minor lacrosse career, is there anything that stands out to you, or any like one thing that might have been a little bit of a turning point that kind of got you thinking more towards a future in lacrosse and maybe pursuing the next level?
Kind of just like I've loved the game for so long, and I just want to play it for the rest of my life. Kind of fell in love with the game when I was young, and just kind of enjoyed it, playing with my friends, all that, competing. And I also love to win too. Hate losing.
And I can't blame you for that. And then lastly, what do you think is going to be your role moving forward as you go into junior? Ideally, like obviously different coaches will want different things out of you. But if you had to pick, or you got to pick where you fit in on a team, where would that be?
I mean, I always kind of come to a team hoping to like change like the guys in the room, a big leadership. That's a huge part of me. Trying to be like a leadership guy, and yeah, that's basically it for me.
All right, well, congratulations and good luck.
Sounds good. With the 7th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from Westtown School Xander Maxwell, who is not in attendance tonight. Next pick of the draft belongs to the Crude Lacrosse Club. Your 5 minutes are now on the clock.
So Xander Maxwell gets selected, a kid that's away at school playing in the States, a lot of field lacrosse. Very gifted player, sees the floor very well. A little on the smaller side, but he has his skills extend beyond what you would typically see, especially from a young age. And I think that he's going to have a very promising career at the junior level, and it's very solid pick.
With the 8th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Parkland Posse, Jonah Borniak.
The Crude select Berniak from the Parkland Posse, as you can see. Very solid frame, big physical defender. And from what I've seen over the past couple of years, it really improved his feet. Can get off of picks really quickly, and his lacrosse IQ has really improved.
Next selection of the draft belongs to the Crude Lacrosse Club.
All right, Jonah. So must be a nice feeling to get out here and get selected inside the top 10. I mean, obviously, coming into junior, you probably don't know exactly what to expect. But if you were to pick your role and where you're going to fit in on a team, where would that be?
Well, I've always thought of myself as an athletic kind of player, really fast and strong. So I think I'm like a transition D guy, but I've been always trying to work on my craft on offense. So I hope that I can kind of influence the play in offense eventually, but I think I'm a transition guy mostly.
And if there's one thing that you're in the off season that you're going to look to improve upon, what would that be? What else? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a skill, but maybe something off the floor, anything that you might be a focus for you moving forward.
Always fitness has been a big thing for me, but probably just kind of staying more in the moment in the game, not worrying about what happened before, like if I messed up in a play or something, probably that.
Yeah, that's awesome because obviously, sports are so mental, and everybody thinks it's all physical, but really it's 90% mental. So I think that's a really great point you just made. But awesome to speak with you, and congratulations and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Yeah, you too.
The Crude back on the clock.
With the 9th selection of the 2022 draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Parkland Posse, Cale Harris.
So the Crude continue their little mini run on Parkland Posse players. Another solid frame, Cale Harris. Whereas Brignac is more of a defender, Cale brings a offensive element to the Crude. Size, can set picks, basically create room for other players, but he can also create himself. Nice shot from the outside, and is always a threat. Always a threat to put the ball in the net.
5 minutes are now on the clock.
All right, Cale. So congratulations. Coming from Parkland, playing minor lacrosse, it was a relatively newer organization. Was there one thing that sort of stood out from your minor lacrosse career that sort of had you thinking, this is a sport I want to stick with and pursue to try and make it to the next level?
Yeah, well, I've always just got compliments on how I play, and that just always made me want to stick to the game and play more.
Right on. And so it was always like one of those things where you got that sort of peripheral feedback, and it was positive, and you wanted to stay with it. That's good. Lacrosse needs more of that. And then lastly, I'm wondering, as you go into junior, is there one thing in your game that you think that maybe needs a little bit of work or you want to focus on?
Yeah, mostly accuracy is one for sure, and then just getting, a bit more in shape and be able to keep up with the play.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, faster pace and the game speed ticks up a little bit. So, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. But congratulations and good luck moving forward.
The Rebels are calling their first 3-minute timeout.
The Rebels are in discussion with the Warriors right now about a potential trade.
Thank you, Mike. I didn't know this.
So as per usual, most of these drafts will see a couple of deals being done kind of midway through, sometimes off the top. There was one right off the top with the Crude and the Warriors. But now the Warriors and the Crude, that deal was the Crude sending Max Runzer to the Warriors for a 2022 5th and a 2022 6th. And now the Warriors are headed back to their table. Looks like the deal has been made, whatever it was. like a transaction is being dealt with right now.
We have a trade to announce. The Edmonton Warriors are sending the 2022 fourth round selection and a 2023 second round selection to the Rebels in exchange for their 2022 third round pick, which is this current one. Which means Warriors, your 5 minutes are now on the clock.
So after that deal is completed, it's now the Warriors on the clock. So the details of that trade involve the Warriors sending their 2022 fourth round and their 13th, as well as their 2023 second rounder to the Rebels for their third 2022 and their 10th from this year as well.
With the 10th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the St. Albert Rams, Tyden Redlick.
Strong selection here by the Warriors. They go to net, where they select Tyden Redlick from the St. Albert Rams. A very athletic goaltender. Can do a little bit of everything in net. He's very agile, can get across, can push off quickly, get a stop backdoor chances. Good from the outside, good frame, and some of the best speed I've seen on a goaltender in quite some time.
Rebels in a trade made on March 15th.
All right, Tyden, so congratulations on the selection. So you go to the Warriors, growing up playing in St. Albert for the Rams and for the North and for those types of organizations. What do you think, and you're a goalie, so this is a good question to ask you, what do you think is going to be the biggest adjustment going from the smaller nets to the bigger nets for you?
Well, I've been lucky as of late because since the seasons got canceled and stuff, all I've been playing is junior nets. So for the past about 2 and a bit years, I've just been playing in junior nets and stuff. So I think it'll be actually a fairly easy transition. And at least from playing with the Warriors doing drop-ins in the 4-on-4, and the guys they have on their team that I know, they have unreal defense. So I think it'll actually be a pretty easy transition.
Yeah, and I think great answer, because you're a goaltender that has some really good athleticism. You're able to get across from post to post really quickly, and you got a nice frame. You're agile. So I think that transition will be a pretty smooth one for you. Then lastly, as you leave minor lacrosse, is there anything that sort of sticks out for you that kind of gave you that incentive to keep going and eventually make and play junior one day?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I actually found this out recently. I have a lot of family who actually play, who are involved in pro lacrosse and stuff, and so it was kind of the family aspect. And then my coaches that I've had with Corey Albrecht and Brad Nestor, they were huge in helping me keep me playing lacrosse and stuff. And because I play hockey as well, they kept me focused on lacrosse and be like, you should really play this and all that stuff. So I think just between that and then Garen Schmerman with the Crude was actually my goalie coach growing up. So just between all that stuff, I feel like it just constantly was pushing lacrosse on me, and I've just grown to love it so much.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations and good luck moving forward, Tyden.
With the 11th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Edmonton Warriors, Seth McKenzie.
So the Rebels go with lefty Seth McKenzie, a very intelligent left-hander. Got really good touch in tight, can finish, has the ability to score from the outside as well. Definitely an offensive-minded player, and the guy that as he matures and finds his frame and finds his physicality is going to be a dangerous threat out the O gate.
The next selection of the draft belongs to the
Seth,
Saskatchewan
so
Rebels.
congratulations. It's great to see you put on that jersey officially for the first time. So growing up, you played for the Warriors, obviously. Is there anything that sort of stands out to you through your minor lacrosse career that sort of got you focused on lacrosse and was kind of a turning point for you moving forward as you kind of progressed through?
I think our last season really kind of put everything into perspective, and once COVID hit, it kind of just reminded me how much the game meant and the void that it all created, and it kind of just, like I said, reminded me of what it meant to me. And it kind of just, the next season after COVID we got to play, it just meant immensely more than I could imagine.
Good answer. And to conclude here with you, Seth, is there anything that you're going to really focus on for the rest of this off season and beginning and through training camp and everything? Is there anything that's going to stand out to you that you got to try and focus on to improve?
I'd say I know one of my bigger weaknesses is my size and my ability and my ability to move other people on the floor. My strength is probably my lowest point, so my goal is to just do everything I can and get her going with that.
All right, Seth. Well, thanks for your time and good luck moving forward. Take care. So the Rebels will be coming up again for the third consecutive time after the deals. All those deals have taken place here.
With the 12th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Regan Walker.
So yet another selection from the park, Regan Walker. Another transition type player with speed. Will facilitate the ball up the floor for teams. He'll get out and run. And he will be a big part of the fast break for the Rebels, and is another kid that will be committed and bring a positive attitude towards to the Rebels franchise.
The next selection of the draft belongs to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels after a trade made earlier tonight with the Edmonton Warriors.
All right, Regan. So you've made it this far through your lacrosse career. Was there any sports that you growing up that sort of had more of your focus, and was there any point in time where you kind of shifted your focus to lacrosse, or have you always just sort of played a little bit of everything and then the opportunity just sort of presented itself? Like, how did it sort of go for you?
Well, actually, this year I decided to not play basketball and to focus more onto lacrosse. So, I don't know. Lacrosse is a lot more fun. I'd feel like better at it than basketball. So
that's as good a reason as anything. So, and but there are a lot of similarities between basketball and lacrosse, which I'm assuming helped you in your lacrosse, like as you progress through each level or so. And then lastly, is there any, as you go into junior lacrosse, is there a role that you sort of aspire to sort of achieve? Like, do you want to be an O guy? Do you want to be a D guy? Do you want to be a guy that plays O and D? Like, how do you sort of see your major lacrosse career progressing?
Well, for right now, I'll just kind of do whatever they ask me to do. Being the new guy, you got to kind of take everything that they're going to throw at you. So one game they might put me at O, the next game they might put me at D. I'll just work my hardest at whatever they put me at.
That's awesome. You're malleable. You'll go wherever they need you to go and contribute. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Regan. Good luck. So it seems like the Rebels are on the clock all the time here, and they return with the 13th overall pick.
With the 13th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the St. Albert Rams, Grayson Albrecht. The next selection of the draft
Rebels
belongs
select Grayson
to
Albrecht
the
from
Beaumont
the St. Albert
Outlaws. Your
Rams.
5 minutes are now on the clock.
Another athletic kid that is probably more D-based, more defensively focused, can be physical, and it might be a kid that can slide into a lineup sooner rather than later.
With the 14th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from the St. Albert Rams, Caden Nestor.
The Outlaws
The
selecting
next selection
Caden
of the draft
Nestor,
belongs to the Saskatchewan Rebels.
a crafty, smaller left-hander, has the ability to see the floor, and will likely attempt to fill an O role moving forward for the Outlaws. The Rebels and the Warriors seem to be allies of a sort in this draft, discussing another trade potentially.
The Fort Saskatchewan Rebels are using their second timeout. False alarm. My apologies.
Announce at some point in time that everybody when they get drafted that is here at the end is a picture on that wall right over there.
Okay.
All of them.
Okay, sounds good.
It was like, it looked like that, so.
The Rebels appear to be ready to make their selection.
Didn't look over here. That's my bad. With the 15th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, Ben Renault.
So the Rebels go and take defender Ben Renault, sort of a spark plug type player, lots of energy, will basically run through a wall for teams. Very physical, very athletic, and brings a lot of speed. He should give them a jolt, give the Rebels a jolt of athleticism into their lineup.
The next selection of the draft belongs to the Crude Lacrosse Club. Crude, your 5 minutes are now on the clock. And while they are making their selection, for anybody who is selected tonight, make sure to hang back after the draft is over, as we will be taking a photo of all the draftees from tonight over on the wall to technically your guys' right. So make sure to hang back after the draft.
He's not here.
Okay. With the 16th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Parkland Posse, Tyson Dzwanka. The next selection of the draft also belongs to the Crude Lacrosse Club. Crude, your 5 minutes are now on the clock.
The Crude select Dzwanka from the Parkland Posse. You can see a little bit of an alignment with the Crude and the Posse, as they've picked up a number of players from Parkland so far in this draft.
He's on the next page.
And Crude back on the clock.
With the 17th selection in the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the St. Albert Rams, Nash Knowlton.
So the Crude stay at home in St. Albert and take Nash Knowlton. A player that can do a little bit of everything. Again, this draft is full of a bunch of versatile players. That'll be interesting to see what roles they fill, because there's a number of guys that could end up playing O, D, maybe a little bit of both. So we'll see how things go moving forward.
The next selection of the draft belongs to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. Fort Saskatchewan, your 5 minutes are now on the clock.
Rebels contemplating another pick here. Seem to be going in a few different directions here tonight. Be interesting to see what they come up with. Definitely being a little bit deliberate with their selections. This is usually the part of the draft that can make or break the quality of your draft in sort of the middle rounds. Once you get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, there's usually some players that you can really pick up and target in that area of the draft. And that's usually what typically sets apart a quality draft from an average or even a poor one. So it'll be interesting to see who gets selected where in the next few rounds.
Let me know when the clock runs. Signal to me. Rebels. The Fort Saskatchewan Rebels are now using their second and final 3-minute timeout of the draft. Rebels, your 3-minute timeout starts now. Rebels, this is your 1-minute warning, 1 minute left on your selection.
So the Rebels appear to be handing in a trade card of some kind.
With the 18th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, Reese Walsh.
So the Rebels select Reese Walsh.
The next selection of the
another team that's sort of staying locally within their area, within that northern quadrant.
Timeout.
They're taking a time.
The Beaumont Outlaws are using their first 3-minute timeout.
The Outlaws taking their first 3-minute timeout, and they're still on the clock, obviously. The Outlaws have their pick in.
With the 19th pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Marcus Hildebrand.
So the Outlaws go with Marcus Hildebrand. A lot like same type of mold of player as Regan Walker, a physical kid that can get out in transition and sort of add to the pace of a team. And he probably slots in as a solid defender for the Outlaws, and a guy that should contribute and make their team fairly soon.
The draft belongs to the Crude after a trade earlier this evening with the Edmonton Warriors. Crude, your 5 minutes are now on the clock. Fastest 5 minutes I've ever seen. Fastest 5 minutes I've ever seen. Holy shit.
The Crude come up with back-to-back picks, 20th overall and 21st overall, to bookend the round 5 and bookending round 5 and round 6.
With the 20th pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Crude select from the Lakeland Heat, Zaxton Blake.
So the Crude reach out into rural areas and select Zaxton Blake, a player that I'm not too familiar with, being outside of the Edmonton area, and I haven't seen play too much. But I know his brother Zayden played at the 4-on-4.
Next selection of the draft
that was just recently held by the minors, and it was quite a gifted player, so would not be shocked that his brother is a strong player as well.
With the 21st pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Tristan Crundwell.
And the Crude going back to back, and they conclude that set of picks with Crundwell from the Titans, who's in the washroom apparently and can't accept the jersey right at the moment.
As soon as he walks in. With the 21st selection in the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Tristan Crundwell.
Probably 101 of what not to do on your draft day in the washroom while getting selected.
The next selection of the draft belongs to the Beaumont Outlaws. Your 5 minutes, are now on the clock.
We have to interview the guy that was in the washroom before, as he was getting selected. No, so, hey man, these are all about memories, right? You'll always link this day to getting drafted while in the washroom. There's nothing wrong with that. So, so that's fair. So as you make your way into major lacrosse, what do you see? Like, what role ideally do you see yourself filling for the Crude?
Probably a defender, honestly. I used to play offense, but lean more towards the defense side now.
That's fair. Okay, and I'll let you go here. But last thing I want to ask you is, how do you see yourself sort of progressing through your junior career? Do you have any aspirations to sort of go as play the highest level you can, or what do you foresee yourself in the future?
It's like a recreational sport. Like, I'm glad that I get to go play at the Crude. That was one of the teams that I wanted to play for. And I don't know, I'm happy where I am. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, congratulations.
With the 22nd pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Hunter Keka.
So as you can see, another strong run of Titans. Sherwood Park producing a number of players. Out of that 17, 18, 19, 20, the last sort of that 4-year gap, that Bantam and midget age range, right before the shutdown, right before COVID sort of hit. Some strong teams out of that club, and you're seeing that through this draft.
Belongs to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. Rebels, your 5 minutes are now on the clock. With the 23rd pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, Rylan Walsh. Next pick of the draft belongs to the Crude Lacrosse Club.
The Rebels
Crude, your 5 minutes.
Stay within city limits and select brother of the previous Walsh that was selected in the draft. So you'll see that a lot at this level. A lot of family ties. A lot of brothers will end up playing together, cousins, and the Rebels follow that mold there with that last pick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a trade to announce. The Fort Saskatchewan Rebels are trading Ben Renaud to the St. Albert Crude in exchange for a 2023 fifth-round pick. However, at the end of the 2022 season, the playing rights to Renaud revert back to the Rebels.
So there was a deal that was just made that you could see happening on the other side of the room for about the last half hour. Ben Renaud gets sent to the Crude. Yeah. Ben Renaud gets sent to the Crude from the Rebels for a fifth-round pick, and his rights will revert back to the Rebels after the 22
select from the Sherwood Park
after the 22
Titans,
season
Daniel
concludes.
Willis.
So the Crude shore up an area of need in net. They select Daniel Willis from the Sherwood Park Titans. As you can see, he has strong flow. He's got a nice amount of size, good frame, and he should be able to take up a lot of net and be a force for the Crude.
3-minute selection timers.
All right, so you get selected here by the St. Albert Crude. How are you feeling hearing your name called?
Really good. This has always been a moment I've been dreaming of. Super exciting. I'm glad I get to play for the Crude this season. It's gonna be a great one.
Awesome. So, and I asked Titan this earlier. How do you feel like your style of play will transition into the bigger nets?
Oh, I feel like I have a pretty good gameplay. I feel like I move, but I also stay still a good amount, and I think I can play well in the junior nets still.
Awesome. And as you obviously you're entering your first rookie season in junior. Do you have aspirations to just keep climbing the ladder and try to play the highest level as you can, or is it more of a sort of a recreational approach for you with lacrosse?
Yeah, I would like to make it somewhere with my lacrosse career, especially something like junior A or pro. I think that'd be awesome.
Great. Well, congratulations. Good luck.
With the 25th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the St. Albert Rams, Ryder Chaba.
So the Crude
Next selection of the draft
was reported as a Rams kid, but he's actually from the Fort.
3 minutes are now on the clock.
And the Rebels are back on the clock. All right, so Ben, a little bit of an unorthodox draft day for you, but you get dealt. You go from the Rebels to the Crude, and then we find out that your rights will revert back to the Rebels after it ends. But first off, like, what are your feelings about that? Like, does it change anything about how you view this upcoming season, or like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm just happy to play and get my brother's last year, and I get to play with him for that, and I'm just happy for that and play my heart out always. So.
Yeah, you could sort of see it developing when the Crude cornered you over there by the door. It wasn't a shock that it went down, knowing that your brother plays on the team. So
Jackson
what
Bennett.
What do you think as the season gets nearer? What are you going to try and focus on in terms of your own game, and where do you think your strengths lie, and where do you think there's one area of sort of weakness that you might want to try and improve on?
I just want to work on my strength, just running up the ball, up the floor more. I'm more of a D guy, so just work on my D game, just become progressively better throughout the years. So.
Yeah, moving guys at the junior level is a little bit different animal than playing Bantam. And so lastly, I'll ask you, what would your parents have done if you were playing against your brother in his last year?
Oh, they would have been nervous. Me and my brother had already talked. There was going to be a fight if we were on different games, but he's a lot older and bigger, so I wouldn't expect to win, but they'd just be happy to see us play together.
Well, I remember coaching against you in Bantam, and like you were a bull back then, so I think you'd probably hold your own against your brother. I don't know, like you might not win, but I think you'd do all right. All right, Ben, well, take care. Yeah. The Outlaws are back on the clock and ready to select.
With the 27th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from the Sherwood Park Titans, Levi Walney. Next selection of the draft belongs to
the Outlaws have shown The Outlaws have shown a pretty strong track record of selecting kids from Sherwood Park, and they continue with that with selecting Levi Wolney, who is more of an offensive-minded kid. We'll see how his game translates to the next level and where he sort of fits in within the Outlaws, or how he fits in within their organization.
The Edmonton Warriors are using their first 3-minute timeout.
So the Warriors are taking their first 3-minute timeout and will remain on the clock. The Outlaws and the Warriors are continuing their conversations. The Outlaws look a bit indecisive about what they want to do right now. And the time is there's about 45 seconds left on the clock for the Outlaws and Warriors to get this deal done or whatever they're trying to figure out here.
Warriors, you have 30 seconds left on your timeout and 2 minutes left on your pick selection clocks. Warriors, your timeout is now over. Your 2 minutes resumes now. Okay.
Warriors appear ready to make their selection.
With the 28th selection in the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Blues Owen Undershoot. Sorry, my apologies.
So the Warriors go with Owen Undershoot.
Next selection of the draft
a player
also belongs
from
to the Edmonton
Parkland Posse
Warriors. Your
organization. Aggressive, physical, will look to contribute out their back gate.
With the 29th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Parkland Posse, David Sheppel.
So the Warriors come in and go with another Posse player.
Next selection
Sheppel.
of the draft belongs to the Beaumont
Sort of
Outlaws.
A little
Outlaws,
bit.
your 3 minutes are on the
He's basically a little bit similar to Undershoot, just a little bit bigger. We'll look to get a spot on the Warriors out their back gate. Rebels appear to be ready to make their next pick.
Outlaws still haven't made their selection yet. Nope, not yet. It's them right
And
now.
they prematurely came to the stage because it's the Outlaws that are supposed to be up here. And the pick is in. Perhaps a trade.
We have a trade to announce. From the Beaumont Outlaws, they are trading their 2024 round 10, 11, and 12 picks in exchange to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels for their 2022 10th, 11th, and 12th round picks.
So the Rebels and the Outlaws just make a swap where the Rebels will be sending their 2021 10, 11, and 12 round picks, so that's basically right now, to the Outlaws in exchange for their 10 and 11 and 12 in 2024. So 2 years down the road, not even next year, 2 years down the road.
With the 30th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from Leduc Hunter Murphy. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels.
Murphy
Rebels.
from Leduc. 3 minutes are on the clock. And now the Rebels will be on the clock.
With the 31st pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from Westlock Lacrosse, Joshua Booth.
So we have our first player from Westlock selected in the draft. The Rebels go to So the Rebels go to Westlock. First kid taken out of Westlock in quite some time. They take Joshua Booth.
Your 3 minutes are on the clock.
Jaskis. I don't know what pick around it.
Jaskis. It is round 8, pick 32. With the 32nd pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Wizards Rylan Jaskis. Next selection of the draft also belongs to the Crude. Crude, your 3 minutes begins now.
So the Crude select Jaskis from the Edmonton Wizards / Fort Saskatchewan Rebels.
Solobnik?
Yeah.
And the Crude step right back up with another pick.
With the 33rd pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Wizards Cooper Solobnik.
And the Crude stay in the north end.
Next selection of the draft belongs to the Rebels. Rebels, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
With their first pick in the ninth round.
With the 37th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Leduc Crush, Rylan Sukan. Next selection of the draft belongs to the Beaumont Outlaws. Outlaws are 3 minutes are on the clock.
The Rebels go to Leduc to take Suchin, a guy that sort of flies under the radar.
You guys
has good
had that
hands,
at 37 on here?
Has some lacrosse IQ, and he could really develop into something for the Rebels. Actually, a very smart pick, and those are the types of picks, like I was saying earlier.
Selection of the 2022 North Draft, the
really
Beaumont
make a
Outlaws
difference.
select from Beaumont, Knox Despins. The next selection belongs to the Edmonton Warriors. Warriors, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
So the Outlaws stay at home in Beaumont and take Knox Despins from the Beaumont Raiders Lacrosse Club.
Yeah.
Warriors with a pair of picks right now on the clock.
With the 36th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Parkland Posse, Nathan Wagstaff.
So the Warriors go with Waystaff from
Warriors,
the Parkland
you have-
Posse.
With the 37th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Leduc Crush Joshua Grace. The next selection belongs to the Beaumont Outlaws. Beaumont, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
So the Warriors go to Leduc as well, and they take Joshua Grace, another physical kid, can probably contribute some offensively, but might find his role within the transition game. Probably a player that's suited for his physicality and getting the ball up the floor and making some of those contributions outside of just the D or the O gate.
With the 38th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from Lakeland Brett McLeod. The 39th pick also belongs to the Outlaws in a trade made earlier tonight with the Rebels. With the 39th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select Dominic Halterman. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Crude Lacrosse Club. Crude, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
So the Outlaws go back-to-back with McLeod and Halterman. And now the Crude will finish off round 12 and begin round 13. Check that. End round 10 and begin round 11. Crude pick is in.
With the 40th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Warriors Aiden Herring. And with the 41st pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from Westlock Josh Jameson. The next selection of the draft, number 42, belongs to the Outlaws in a trade made earlier tonight with the Rebels. Outlaws, your time is on the clock.
So the Crude go back-to-back, selecting Herring out of Leduc Edmonton Warriors alumni, and Josh Jameson out of Westlock. Herring is
With
probably
the 42nd pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select Cale Hunka.
If Herring ends up playing, he's going to be the steal of the draft. Sort of flying under the radar, high-level hockey player. Played Bantam A up until COVID hit. A kid I actually had the pleasure of coaching. Very athletic, a natural leader. Can contribute offensively, but would be easily one of the best defenders, transition players in this draft. And Jameson out of Westlock
With the 43rd
becomes the second player out of Westlock to be taken.
North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select Jack Moore. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Edmonton Warriors. Warriors, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
Right after that, the Outlaws went with Hunka out of Sherwood Park.
I don't believe so. With the 44th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Blues Dane Menon. Warriors, you are next up on the clock. Your clock has begun.
The Outlaws come in with a strong pick with Jack Moore, a guy that's not many know of. Good feet inside the crease, very athletic goaltender, a player out of Leduc. If he decides to play and pursue the sport, very strong selection by the Outlaws.
With the 45th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Leduc Crush Hunter Golding. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Outlaws. Outlaws, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
So at 44 overall, the Warriors select Dane Menon from the Blues/Posse, and then they come in with Hunter Golding from Leduc at 45 to begin round 12.
Yeah. With the 46th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from the Sherwood Park Titans Ben Simpson. The next selection of the draft also belongs to the Outlaws in a trade made earlier tonight with the Rebels. Outlaws, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
So after the Warriors make a pair of selections, the Outlaws take Ben Simpson from Sherwood Park, and now it is the Outlaws with the Rebels pick up next.
With the 47th pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Beaumont Outlaws select from the Sherwood Park Titans Logan Cunningham. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Crude. Crude, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
The Outlaws go with Logan Cunningham from Sherwood Park. And now the Crude are ready to make their 48th overall pick of the 2022 Junior B entry draft.
With the 48th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club selects from Westlock Aiden Properzi. And with the 49th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club selects from the Wizards Aiden Ballantyne. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. Rebels, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
So the Crude take a couple of Aidens back to back. They go with Aiden Percy from Westlock and Aiden Ballantyne from the Wizards/Warriors. The Rebels are on the clock with the 50th overall pick.
With the 50th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from Sherwood Park, Adam Lang. Next selection belongs to the Beaumont Outlaws. Outlaws, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
So the Rebels go out into the park and take Adam Lang. And then next up on the dial is the Outlaws with the 51st overall pick, followed by the Warriors to conclude round 13.
Gonna pass? Okay. The Beaumont Outlaws have passed on their pick. The Outlaws can now make no more selections of this draft. The next selection belongs to the Edmonton Warriors. Warriors, your selection is now on the clock.
So the Outlaws at 51 overall pass, and they can no longer make any more selections, so their 2022 draft is concluded.
With the 52nd pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from the Warriors Pascal Politano. My apologies if I totally pronounced your name wrong.
So the Warriors select Pascal Politano.
The next selection of the draft also belongs to the Warriors. Warriors, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
A kid, if you can get motivated and into it, so to speak, he's got a heavy outside shot, has some offensive ability to provide, but it's all about motivation and focus with Pascal, and we'll see if the Warriors can get it out of him. Round 14 begins now with the Warriors at 53rd
With the
overall.
53rd pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from Westlock Nate Callahoo. The 54th selection has been passed by the Outlaws, which means the Rebels, you are now on the clock.
So at the top of round 14, the Warriors go with Nate Callahoo, who extends the mini run of Westlock players taken. I believe he's now the 4th player from Westlock taken. And now round 14 will progress with the Outlaws having already passed at 54. 55 is the Rebels, whose pick is in.
With the 54th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels Kyle Brown. The next selection belongs to the Crude. Crude, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
55th overall, the Rebels go with Kyle Brown. And now the Crude will conclude round 14 with 56th overall.
Yeah. Okay. With the 56th selection of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Rams Brody Schmerman. Next selection belongs to the Crude. Crude, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
So the Crude go with the Brodozer, Brody Schmerman at 56 overall at the end of round 14. Played a little bit of lacrosse in the St. Albert area. Knows the coach a little bit. Knows one of the players a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Has some relation to them.
With the 57th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Rebels, James Spears. Next selection, number 58, is the Rebels. Rebels, your 3 minutes is on the clock.
The top of round 15, the Crude select James Spears from Fort Saskatchewan. And now the Rebels are on the clock at 58 overall.
With the 58th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from Fort Saskatchewan, Ethan Hackett. The 59th pick has been passed by the Outlaws, which means pick 60 from the Edmonton Warriors.
So we're going to pass on 61 because I got no more going. Okay, so this will work.
Give us a sec here. Yeah, no worries. You guys good? Yeah. Okay.
At 58, the Rebels take a kid out of, it says Beaumont, but he's from Fort. It'll be Ethan Hackett to the Rebels.
With the 60th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Edmonton Warriors select from Wainwright, Rhett Perkins. The 61st pick belongs to the Warriors. They have passed. They can now make no more selections in this draft. Pick 62 has also been passed by the Warriors. Pick 63, the Rebels. You are now on the clock.
So to finish off round 15, the Outlaws at 59 were a pass. The Warriors take Rhett Perkins from Wainwright. And now the Warriors and Outlaws have passed, obviously, their round 16 picks. So that concludes the Warriors draft, along with the Outlaws, who already concluded their own draft. And now the Rebels are up with the 63rd pick.
With the 63rd pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels select from Leduc, Eric Priest. The next selection of the draft belongs to the Crude at number 64. Crude, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
At 63, the Rebels select Eric Priest from Leduc. And at 64, the only other team remaining that is still currently picking, the Crude, will be making, or they may pass, but it looks like they will be going with a pick of some kind here.
With the 64th pick of the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Rams, Caden Horvath. The next selection of the draft also belongs to the Crude. Crude, your 3 minutes are on the clock.
Can you ask everybody who's here that's been drafted, has got a shirt on, to go right over to here and get a
Yeah.
At 64, to finish off round 16, the Crew take Caden Horvath from the St. Albert Rams.
Have been selected. If you could please, with your jerseys, head over to the wall to my left, your right, for a group photo. Thank you. Good to keep going. Do you want to wait or? We can keep going. Yeah. Yeah, I'll wait until they.
What round are we on?
17. With the 65th pick in the 2022 North Draft, the Crude Lacrosse Club select from the Warriors, Dylan Nicholson. Rebels, you have the next selection. You are on the clock.